Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching us from. My name is Kevin Adipo, and welcome to Get It Right with Atara Solution. This is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. We do this every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., live from Zoom and on Facebook. This is the second last episode of season 3. So I hope for all of us who joined us during our get together, that is our dinner last week, you really at least could put a face or could put a name to the faces that you normally meet with during these Zoom meetings. So kindly just briefly allow me to acknowledge our partners. And just before that, welcome Catherine Sidandi, who is our sign language and interpreter. We appreciate her for the support, the continuous support that she's continued to make sure that we are inclusive. Allow me, as I mentioned, to acknowledge the people who have made sure that we are on Zoom. We are on Zoom this date, so just a minute. Technology is acting up on me. Yes. Here we go. Thank you. We have, sorry, just a minute. Okay. Now, what is happening? Grace, this one has gone. Vamos. All right. Allow me to, as I'm trying to get to our partners, allow me to remind all of us on this webinar that we will be having a HR Professional Sports Day. This one is meant to happen at the Nairobi Club grounds. Registration is only 600 Kenya shillings. Please mark it. Besides which, we also have our partners, that is Balcon Housing, Stallion Company, Pathway Solution and Services, who make sure that we always have trainings to attend to. We have Essence Park Limited. We have the Panessa Training Institute. We have Weekly Services. Hello. We have Weekly Services. We have Kapula Mintito, Professional Internationals. And last but not least, we have Steadfast Quality Solutions. And today's session, we are going to be learning about what to expect in an interview. What to expect in an interview during or when you're called for that interview by any institution or any organization. So today's speaker is none other than Jairus Solemba from JCVs. Jairus, I know we have, and quite a number of our viewers have heard a lot about you. So would you kindly get us going? Welcome, Jairus.
Thank you so much for Kevin. And good evening, everyone. My name is Walemba J. I'm the CEO and founder of JCVs. JCVs is a company that enhances employability. Basically, our core area is we enhance employability through CV revamp, interview training, interview coaching, then job linkages to potential clients as well. So today I'll be talking about what gets, I'll be speaking to job seekers about what gets you an interview. And more often than not, I've seen people complain that we're not getting interviews. I've been applying for jobs, for thousands of jobs, but I hope you can hear me. I've seen someone say that I can raise my volume. Kevin, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you, Mr. J.
So more often than not, we've had people talk about been applying for jobs, thousands of jobs, but they don't get feedback or they don't get called for interviews. That's what I would really like us to talk about today. And I would like to guide job seekers on how best to handle this, because most of the time I've seen people get into depression because they've been applying for jobs and not getting any feedback. So Kevin, I think I'm able to share my screen. Kindly enable, make me a host so that I can be able to share my screen from this side. Still not able.
It's done, Mr. J, please.
Still not able to share.
Okay.
So as Kevin is working on that, I would like us to talk about what makes us get interviews. After you've seen this job advert, what are you supposed to do? Now, the job application process starts from the point you see an advert. Most of us will look at the deadline for that job. I'm able to share, I think so. So we'll be talking about what gets you an interview. So the first thing that we do when you get, when you see a job advert, most of the job adverts will ask us about CV, cover letter, as part of the application process. 90% of the job adverts will ask about that, even though I've seen other jobs talk about asking about someone sharing the CV only. It's still okay. But I want us to discuss about the first 2 points, the CV and the cover letter. What gets us that interview? So the first component is the CV. I'd like us to talk about the CV and guide you on how to do the best CV depending on the job that has been advertised. So a CV is your marketing tool. This is a document that you present to any employer before now you get the initial invite for an interview. So a CV is what you present to an employer before they make a decision to invite you for an interview, before they see you. So they use this CV to make that decision. So how should your CV be aligned to fit the job description? So a CV includes your abilities in terms of the skills, your academic qualifications and experience. It should highlight your relevant skill, that is skill set, that is aligned to the job that you're applying for. How do you align your CV to the job that you are applying for? The first thing you need to do, you look at the language of the employee is using to describe the role. Get some words from the job description that fit that can be used now in your CV in terms of the roles that you're looking for, in terms of the skills that the recruiter is looking for. Look at the essentials of the job description in terms of the qualifications and the experience. Align your CV to fit that the job description and the experience that they are looking for. Use some of the adjectives from the CV, from the JD on your CV. The same will apply to the cover letter that you are using. Most of the applications nowadays are using, most of the employers are using what you call the ATS, the applicant tracking system. So the applicant tracking system will really insist on using the same language that the employer is using to describe the role in your CV, and similarly using the same adjectives that are in the JD and in your CV and cover letter, so that now you are able to align it, and the applicant tracking system, the ATS system, is able to capture, to pick some of the words that are similar, that are aligning to the JD and your CV. So the first thing you do, look at the language of the employer is using to describe that role, then apply it in your CV. The second thing you need to do, look at the essentials of the job description, look at the experience, look at the qualifications. Then number 3, what is it that summarizes you? Align that to the role, that tailor-make your summary. The professional summary on your CV should be very key in terms of, the professional summary should be aligned to the JD that you are applying for. So what are some of the common mistakes that we include in our CVs? So the first thing that we do, the most common mistakes that we include in our CVs, we have unnecessary information on our CVs. The necessary information here will include things to do with age, the date of birth, marital status, the sex, the religion. These are information that is very irrelevant. Unless you are asked for by the employer or by the recruiter to provide this information, it's not necessary to provide this information in your CV. Another thing that is, irrelevant in your CV is the photos. Unless you are in the hospitality industry, or unless you're applying for jobs in the Middle East, that's where now we do CVs that have photos. That's where they require these photos for your photos. Unless you are in that industry, the hospitality industry, the air hostess industry, do not include your photos in your CV. For accountants, for HR professionals, we don't need your photos on your CV. So make sure that you avoid such unnecessary information in your CV. The third mistake that we make is a CV length. The CV length is a problem as well. Most CVs, the preferred length for a professional CV should be 3 pages. A CV more than 3 pages will be long, and most employers will, most recruiters will not go through the whole document. So make your CV as precise and short as possible. 3 pages maximum. For job seeker, for people who have just maybe attachment experience or internship experience, one experience on your CV, you should not have a CV that's more than 1.5 pages. The maximum it should go for is 1.5 pages, or it can be even be 1 page, a 1-page CV for someone with just internship experience. Your CV should highlight, the first page of your CV should give the potential employer or the potential recruiter a view of who you are as an individual. When they look at the first page of your CV or the summary of your CV, they should be able to know that we are looking at Jay's CV, and Jay's CV, from the first paragraph or from the summary, I'm able to tell who Jay is. I'm able to tell Jay's strengths. I'm able to tell his areas, as specific areas of specialization. So that should be in your first, in the summary of your CV. Then the other mistake, the fourth mistake that you make is unprofessional referees. When I talk about, when I talk about unprofessional referees, I mean that referees that more often than not, most CVs have referees. We have those of us that have referees who are our parents, those of us that have referees who are our friends, but you don't inform them in advance so that when they can anticipate any call from the recruiter. Another thing that we've seen most, especially for fresh graduates, we include our lecturers, former lecturers as our referees. Some of them that the people that we didn't. Are you able to see? Are you able to see the PowerPoint on your screens? Kevin, are you able to see?
Yes, Gareth, you are able to see. There are a few concerns from the participants that it's too tiny. They're too tiny. So maybe you can try and zoom in, please.
Just so what I was saying is that we've had people who include their referees as part of the former lecturers. I think it's okay there. We've had
Yes.
people that do their lecturers as their referees, the people that they never interacted with the whole of in the whole of their 4 years in university. So these people do not know you when they are called, and when they are called, they are not able to give any information about you. The fifth one, the fifth mistake we make is our CVs do not have page numbers, especially for those CVs that are being dropped hand delivered. Your CV might be misplaced, or it might lose the staples. Then the papers will fall in different places. So the person that will be collecting the papers, the CV cannot be able to align your CV from differentiate your CV from other CVs. So CV having your page number and your name is okay. And the sixth mistake we do is lack of a CV name. Most of us will name our CVs as curriculum vitae or null or just CV. And some of the names that we give our CVs are very key as well. When your official names are Jairus Walemba, you can name your CV Jairus Walemba CV or Jairus CV, rather than having your CV with a specific job title. This gives an indication to any employer that you have several CVs, and you have a sales CV, you have an account CV, you have a customer service CV. So having CVs with different names, CVs with titles for different roles is also a mistake that we do. So any potential employer will know that this person has several CVs, and you've just customized your CV to fit this role. You might not have that experience that we're looking for. So make sure that you give your CV official names when you are naming it. Another thing that another mistake that we have on our CVs is the outdated experience. For example, you've been working as an accountant for 3 years. You've worked for 3 different organizations. Then maybe your first role was a salesperson. If your first role was a salesperson and you've been working as an accountant for 3 roles, you can just mention the sales role, the salesperson role. You have the accounting roles on your CV, but don't mention you don't have to highlight the experience of the experience as a salesperson. That is, the experience as a salesperson is outdated because now you specialize now as an accountant. So that is something that we also need to work on. So a good CV should have 6 parts. So the first part on a good CV should be your name and contact details. When you talk about your name, make sure that you are using the official names on your CV. Now, the official names that are being used on the CV should be the names that should be appearing on your social media pages. Nowadays, recruiters are doing background checks on our social media pages. They'll go on your Facebook, see what you post. They'll go on your LinkedIn, see what you post. Then they'll use that information now to consider you for a role in the organizations. So what we post, or what the names that you use on our CVs and our social media pages should always be official names. We have some of us that the same applies to emails. We've seen people that use different emails, alshabab@gmail.com, or we've seen people that use nicebaby@gmail.com. Those are not emails that should be used in your CV. Have as an official email address. For example, jwalemba@gmail.com, that is an official email address. The second part on your CV should be the career or the professional summary. The career or the professional summary is just a summary of who you are. Someone looking at your professional summary or your career summary should be able to tell your strengths, should be able to tell, should be able to tell who you are as an individual before even they move to the other parts, the other skeleton of your CV. So the career summary should show us who Jay is even before we move to the other parts of his CV. So the third part is the core competences or the core skills on this CV. Now, when you talk about the core competences or the core skills, we've seen people that highlight technicals. These are the technical skills for any job. And as I've always said, is that technical skills will differ from one job to another. The technical skills for an accountant are different from the technical skills of an engineer, and same to the technical skills of a HR person. So the technical skills, this is what the ATS system picks during the recruitment process or the screening process. So the technical skills should be highlighted here. And these technical skills are skills that are gained from the JD. So looking at the JD, each responsibility carries its own technical skill. So make sure that you're highlighting the technical skills from the JD that you have, the JD that that is on your CV. So the fourth part is the academic qualification and the professional qualification, academic and professional qualifications. So the academic qualifications, we have people that have been having issues with differentiating between the academic and the professional qualifications. Academic qualifications, that is your degree, and maybe your high school or their diploma course. The professional qualifications are courses like CPA, CHRP. For people in procurement, we have the CSPS. Then people in PR and customer service, we have in marketing, you have the chartered marketing professional course. So the professional, unless you have that professional course, you can only, if you only have your degree and your high school, or your degree and your diploma, it's the academic qualifications. If you have any professional qualifications like CPA now, that's when you can add the professional and academic qualifications. On the work experience now, the fifth part, work experience. With work experience, we are able to, you start with the most recent position. The most recent position now should be, you should have your, the company, the role that you hold in that company, then the dates. The dates always include the month. When you include the month, it helps the potential employer now be able to ascertain or be able to accumulate the number of years that you've worked in that organizations. If you write that maybe 2021 to 2022, and maybe it is January 2022, we are in January 2022 or February, you might have started working in December 2021 and you only have the 3 months experience. Or you might have started working in January 2021, you have 1 year plus experience. So a potential employer looking for someone with 1 year plus experience or 1.5 years experience will not be able now to highlight that from your CV. So always make sure that you highlight the month as well. The month you join the company and the month you're leaving the company. The last part in our CV is the referees. The referees, in most cases, companies will want referees from your immediate employer or the previous employer, because these are the people that have worked with you last, and mostly we need people who have supervised you directly, so they're able to tell about your character in terms of your professional character. So have them, the referees, have professional referees on your CV. That is something that will help in terms of will ease in the background process. So another thing that you need to understand is that we need to inform our referees about having them as our referees in our CVs. When we don't inform them, it becomes difficult for them now to be able to vouch for us. You might have talked to someone maybe a year or 2 years later ago, but someone is not able to identify you when they're given a call. So you end up having a rough time as your potential employer ends up having a rough time, and they might not consider it because you've given referees that are not relevant in your CV. So I'll show you an example of a CV I did for a fresh graduate. Then we can proceed to the cover letter now. Adipo, you can be checking questions in the chat section. We can have a look at them later.
Great. As we are doing that, Mr. Olemba, I'll request that the few people that are requesting that we have it on presentation mode so that at least it becomes more clearer from their end and from our end.
Yeah.
And as we are retrieving that, I'll kindly like to appreciate the people who joined us during our meet and greet session that happened last week on Tuesday. At the same time, I'd love to appreciate our members from Uganda being represented by Mr. Zake himself. And last but not least, I'd love to appreciate Pathway Solution for always making sure that we have trainings so that even as we write our CVs, we always have the right content. Back to you, Jay. We have a number of questions, but I believe after you've shared the CV demonstration, some of the questions are going to be answered. So, Mr. Jairus.
Thank you. I think, are you able to see that? I can increase the font.
The CV is not well visible. It's actually in between. You are right.
Are you able to see it?
We are able to see it, yes, but it's not very clear.
Should I zoom in or out?
It's actually in between writing. So maybe you close and reopen, if you don't mind. There's Yusuf Saleh says click F5.
Sorry.
All right, as Jay is trying to sort out the technical issue that you're having from his end, CV writing, we all believe it's something very critical. And as some of us already have shown their concern on the chat, it's something that we all need to be looking at. We have Lucy who was saying that hope you will give an example, a practical one, on how to outline an outdated experience. Yes, those are some of the areas that I was mentioning that I know Jay is going to handle with the demo that we are going to have on through one of the CVs that he did. Margaret asking, should membership to professional body be included in a CV? I know that one again with the demo that Jay is to share with us, it's going to be easy because we are going to see a clear outline of how we need to even structure the CV itself so that when a recruiter comes across it, it's first appealing to the eye and it outlines everything that you've done professionally, everything, your achievements, and it's also going to outline the referees, because you'll find that as I know, I stand to be corrected by Jay is also going to advise, some employers would actually ask for referees as a separate document on its own, while others will want it to be included, but others, for depending with again the position, you can write that you are going to provide them on request, so that it allows you time to communicate to your referees prior or even before you can be able to share your CV, or after sharing your CV before being called for an interview. Hope there's another question that I'd seen here about good evening. How many pages for the CV approximation? That is a question from Doreen Achien. A CV, as Jay mentioned, it shouldn't exceed 3 pages. That is again for the purposes of helping one to have enough time, because when you're recruiting, or as a recruiter, you want to go through the CV within the shortest time possible, so that again you'll be able within that short time to have grasped all the information that is required, that is in terms of experience, in terms of the qualifications, in terms of the achievements that is required or were requested during the job advert. I can see Jay is almost ready. Jay, are you ready to
Are you able to see this now?
We are able, kindly just click that so that it can be on the presentation mode. On top of insert or design, there is that icon.
Which one?
On top of design, from your page, if you can see home, insert, design.
On this document?
On the document, yes. On PowerPoint.
Now I'm on, I've just opened this document, is a PDF document.
Oh, okay. We are not able to see it. Okay, from my end, I'm still at the PowerPoint document. I don't know if anyone is able to see.
Let me just click it again. I don't know why it's not able to show this.
All right, as Jay is continuing with today's technology decided to act on us.
I don't know why, because from my side it's opening. Someone had asked about the size of a CV. The size of a CV, whether you have 20 years experience, whether you have 1 year experience, it should not go beyond 3 pages. Unless it's very necessary, it can go to 4 pages, but 3 pages is okay for a CV. Someone asked about, what was the second question?
When you write a CV, is it necessary to write a cover letter too? Please elaborate the difference between the two. And actually on the same note, there is another question. There is another question that I saw earlier that was talking about what's the difference between a cover letter and there is a difference. What's the difference between a cover letter and a statement? What is this? Personal statement.
So
because there are those employers who ask those questions. So
now, I've just you talked about design. Then after design, I go where?
The difference between the two, that is a cover letter and the CV, and the cover letter and a personal statement.
So I'm talking about, you told me about design. So settings on the
PowerPoint.
In the PowerPoint?
Yes, there is the presentation icon on the top, almost at the very top. It should be.
It's I have design then. What I can see are the themes there.
If you press F5, you'll be able. It will be able to just press F5. It should be able to take you to, yes, the presentation mode.
I think that is okay. So you're able to see?
We are not able to see because you've not shared your screen yet.
Oh.
Francis Kib is also mentioning here, yes, whether is date of birth critical on your CV? I believe those are some of the questions that you had tackled earlier when you're mentioning. Okay. Yes.
Now, you're able to see from your side now?
It is visible now from our end, and I believe clearer to
So
most of us.
I wanted to give an example of a CV that I've done.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not opening, I don't know why.
Okay, if possible, you can open it as an on its own, so that at least
Just a minute here. Let me open it first, then I can. We had a question about salary.
yes, whether it is okay for you where you can write the salary expectation, whether it should be on your CV or it should be
There
on the
are those
letter.
applications that will be specific about it. You've received the document. There are those applications that are so specific about having the salary on the CV, and there are those that will tell you about having this. There are those that will not specify on which document to have the salary. If they have not specified, you can have it on the cover letter. But if they've specified, you have it on the CV, you can have it just before the referee's current salary and then the expected salary just before the referees. Then someone had asked about a cover letter and a CV. I've always trained on this, that a cover letter, every job application should have a different cover letter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every job application should have a different, should have a cover letter. So what I mean by a job application with a different cover letter is, it means that the words that are used in each job application are different from the words that are used in each application, in each advert are different from one job to another. So what happens is that you have to do a different cover letter. If it means customizing at least a part of the cover letter just to fit that CV, to fit the JD, you have to do that. So cover letters will always be customized to fit a specific position. Assuming you're applying for a HR role, a HR manager role in company A, and a HR role in company B, a HR role in company C, the requirements will be different from from one company to another. So when you're doing this cover letter, it has to match the specific company that you're applying to. The same applies to when you're doing the JDs. The JDs will not always be comfortable. Will not always be similar from one organization to another. So the requirements with the company A will vary from company B. So when you're doing your CV, when you're aligning your CV to the job description, or when you're aligning your cover letter to the job description, always make sure that you're looking at this specific JD when you're doing this. What I've seen, and most recruiters will tell you this, is that what I've seen is that most job seekers.
Are you able to see it? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm able to see it from my side. I think now everyone can be able to see it. So now this is an example of a CV of someone, and his name is ABC. So ABC works as a life skills coordinator for a university. And now, Kevin, you can just scroll down kidogo. So you've seen the first part of the introduction, the name. We have the name, the telephone number, and then the email address. So nowadays, something that I've not included on this job description, just after the email address, you should have the LinkedIn URL, your LinkedIn URL on that CV. Then you have now the professional summary. The professional summary now gives a clear picture of who this person is, even before you scroll or you move to the second or third part of this CV. So you have the professional summary, then you have the areas of expertise. These are the areas of expertise is what I talked about, the technical skills of this person. And these technical skills are derived from the JD. When then we have the academic qualifications, whereby he has the Bachelor of Science and then the high school. These are the academic qualifications. He does not have any professional qualifications. So here the employer is JQuat. He's been working from May 2019 to date. His role is a life skills coordinator. So you have the overall purpose for this position. The overall purpose is what now gives us it gives a summary of what this person, it summarizes the role of the person is handling at this university. So as I said before, is that every role in a CV, someone just asked about what's a JD. A JD is the job description of the duties and responsibilities for a specific role. So every role every responsibility has a technical skills that is derived from it. So the first role is conduct students' needs assessment through surveys and interviews and identify skills or knowledge gaps that need to be addressed. So this is a needs assessment as a skill that you get from this. Assesses the impact of each program implemented, program impact assessment. These are technical skills that is derived from this. Creates and maintains records of training tasks performed each day. These are record management or record keeping is a skill that is derived from this. So these skills are what we have. These skills are what we have that the skills here are what we have at the areas of expertise. Now, when you're doing the areas of expertise, so that to show the potential employer that you are someone who is organized, you align them systematically from the first to the last, the way you may say align up. So the second role, you can just move kidogo to the second role. The second role, now we don't now list the skills in the second role. When we don't partition it now to the second role. So what happens with the second role is that now there are skills that might be in the second role that will not be in the first role. So you also capture these skills from here now, you move them to the areas of expertise now. Still you align them systematically from the planned, and then you get a skill there, facilitated change and address conflicts, you get a skill there. Then you align them also like the way you've done in the first role. So because this person still has other roles, you can now just mention them. And that's now where you mention the other roles. We prefer having three, at most 3 roles in one CV. The 3 roles will give a summary of your skills. If you have the 3 roles, first 3 roles, the most recent 3 roles, it helps us now limit on the number of pages for the CV. If you have more than 3 roles, you have your CV going up to 4-5 pages. So we prefer the 3 roles. Then you have the other roles, they can be listed. Assuming you've been working you are working as a finance manager, your role as an intern in an organization where you worked maybe 10 years ago will not add value to your CV. So you can just mention it. We prefer mentioning it because some of the organizations that you might be applying for might be the organization that you worked for previously. So it will be an added advantage for you if you're applying for a position in that organization, because you'll have an understanding of the organization's culture and you'll not have a rough time in terms of onboarding process. So we can now, we list the certifications for this person, the certification that is had at school. Then just down, we can have now the referees for this person. If you have any professional affiliations or professional bodies that you belong to, we can have them list them just below the JD, below the before the referees. The way we have the position, you have a title, the professional affiliations. Then you can have IHRM member, associate member HRM, or member ISPAC. Then you can have your number there. From the CV, you can see the CV. it has a page name and a page number. So this always helps, especially when it shows that you are someone who is organized. It helps, especially when you have when these pages are torn apart and they have to be stapled together again. Someone will not miss that information from your CV. Can I talk about a cover letter? Can I now talk about a cover letter?
Yes.
Yeah. Kevin, from the questions that you had, I think I've responded to all questions that led to the CV. Have I responded to all questions to the CV?
No, once we've tackled the cover letter, I believe other questions that have not been responded to might be tackled, because I'm already seeing questions here about what's the difference between a JD and a cover letter. So that one will force us to dive into the aspect of a cover letter so that at least someone can see the difference. Unless you think otherwise, that is.
Now, unless I'll be sharing a cover letter shortly, unless you're asked to attach, the other mistakes that we make are that we tend to have, other mistakes that we make is that some of us have attached our CVs with certificates. It's just, we have that as that is our application strategy. It is something that we do day in, day out. So your CV, unless you are asked to have your certificates attached to your CV, always make sure that you are sending your CV alone. Following instructions in job application is something that it's the job application, the interview process starts immediately you are sending this application. So when you are sending application and you are not following instructions, that's part of the interview. Will not shortlist you because you are someone that's not following instructions. If you have shared your CV, your certificates on the CV, then it means that you didn't understand the question, the application process. So you are someone who is careless, so will not shortlist you based on what you've done. So if an application is asking for a CV and cover letter, kindly do the CV and cover letter. If an application is asking for certificates and the CV, and they talk about attaching them as one document, do it. If they don't ask for them being attached as one document, kindly don't do that. And I've seen people ask about, should you do a cover letter in the email? A cover letter should not be done in the email body. A cover letter should be attached unless you've been asked to have it in the email body. There are those questions that applications that will ask for cover letter being merged with the CV. If you are merging the cover letter with the CV, you can do that online, then have the cover letter come first, then the CV comes second. Kevin, let me share with you an example of a cover letter so that maybe we can have that before as I share about that. So a cover letter. So another thing is that what we need to understand is that a cover letter should have 3 pages, 3 paragraphs. So the first paragraph of a cover letter should be the introduction part, where now you're talking about, for example, that you've been working maybe for 3 years or you've been working for 5 years in the same position. You are able now to prove this in your cover letter. You do an introduction of your cover letter, talking about your experience. You have maybe 5 years experience. The job application has asked about 5 years experience in accounting, or 5 years experience as a manager, or 5 years experience as in HR environments or administrative environments. Acknowledge that. Start with that in the cover letter as the first statement in the cover letter. Then acknowledge some of the roles that you can do. Acknowledge some of your area of strengths in that cover letter. If you are talking about your area of strength is in developing and implementing the HR policies and procedures, talk about it in that cover letter in the first paragraph. The second paragraph, now align the JD now with pick some words from the JD, direct pick words from the JD, then have it in the cover letter in the second paragraph. Now, this is, we do this basically because of the ATS system, because the ATS system will be picking keywords, specific keywords from the JD that are in the cover letter. That's what they are looking for. So pick words from the JD and have them in the cover letter. Then in the third paragraph of the, in the last line of your cover letter, of the second paragraph, you should now talk about your technical abilities. If they have talked about a specific system, if they've talked about a specific system, or if they talked about a specific software that you should be able to work with, talk about it in the last sentence of the second paragraph. Another thing that you need to talk about, the third paragraph of your cover letter should be talking about your attributes. Talk about your attributes in the third paragraph. Talk about being able to work under pressure, if that has been talked about in the JD. Talk about being able to having good communication skills, if that is in the JD. Talk about being a good organizer. Talk about having good interpersonal skills, if that has been talked about about in the JD. So you make sure that whatever you're talking about things that are in the JD. As I've said before, is that adverts will vary from one company to another, or from one role to another. So if you are using the same cover letter for different applications, you might end up not scoring the 80% pass mark that is required by the ATS system to have you now move to the next step of the recruitment process. Someone has asked about the ATS system. I think they just joined when I talked about this. The ATS system is the applicant tracking system. The applicant tracking system now is what most companies, especially the big companies, the companies like Nairobi Bottlers, the EABL, you have the application, you're doing the applications online. When you're doing these applications online now, the only applications that will surpass the 80% mark that have been scored by the ATS system will meet a human being. Now, this is where now the human being is able now to invite you for this role. But before when the cover letter, the ATS screens your CV and it doesn't meet the minimum, the 80% pass mark, you'll get an automated reply that your application was not successful. We'll have your CV in our database for future opportunities. So make sure that you are aligning. Something that maybe I should just share before I proceed to the cover letter is that we have free systems online. We have free websites online that can help you now be able to align your CV, your JD and the cover letter. We have the free systems, websites online. So you can be able to feed your JD and then you feed your cover letter and then have it see the score for that cover letter. And this system will also tell you where the problems, where there's a problem and where you need to correct this, the specific, where you need to correct this on the specific cover letter that you're working on. It will give you the strengths and the weaknesses. So you will be able to talk about you'll be able now to handle them well. The difference between a personal statement and a cover letter is customized to fit the JD. A personal statement will mostly, most organizations, when you're doing your application for scholarships, are those that will, the ones that will ask for personal statement. So a personal statement is mostly asked for during the application of, during the scholarship applications. Cover letters are customized to fit a specific job description based on your specific job description. And it should now have the introduction, the skills now, and the attributes. The same way it happens during the interview, the question about tell us about yourself. So this is a cover letter for a position as an intern. So the first paragraph, this letter serves as an application for an attachment or an internship position in your organization. With a proven interest in manufacturing environments, my qualifications and skills parallel your requirements for this role. For several years, I've focused my career path and academic pursuits in Bachelor of Science in Analytical Chemistry program at Jomo Kenyatta University. And this opportunity will be ideal to grow my technical skills in this field. So this person, the first thing the person is doing is sending this application to a manufacturing company. So from the first paragraph, you are able to tell that his interest is in a manufacturing environment. So any recruiter seeing this from a manufacturing environment will be interested in meeting this candidate because the candidate has shown interest in working with them in such an environment. So the second paragraph shows that I'm self-motivated with a positive attitude and I'm thrilled by the prospect of accelerating my technical abilities and transformative leadership skills to future-focused courses and development programs, broadening my horizons by working on highly integrated teams across the globe and collaborating with people of diverse backgrounds, both professionally and culturally, and bringing the best in myself with continuous investment in my well-being and career development. Now, this person is seeking a role as an intern. So they don't have the much skills in terms of they don't have much skills in terms of the technical abilities in this role. So he's seeking for opportunities now to better his skills in this field. So the third paragraph talks about now the attributes. I exercise high attention to detail, ensuring accuracy and consistency in my performance, collaborative teamwork, and on-time completion of my tasks. So there's a high attention to detail here as an attribute. We have teamwork also as the second attribute. I over-communication, interpersonal integrity, planning, and organizational ability. All these are attributes that are relevant in this position. Then my goal is to gain a launchpad into a career in the manufacturing field and play a pivotal role in achieving organizational goals by offering outstanding services. I welcome the opportunity to meet and provide credence for my claims for this role. Then sign yours faithfully, then the sign, and then your name. So what happens with the cover letter? It should always be aimed, because most of the organizations, I think, for us who are in the job vacancies groups, we are able to see that most of the organizations will be nowadays. Most of organizations will give you will do a plain advert looking for an intern, quality control intern. Send your CV on this and this email. They'll not give details about the JD. So you as the job seeker now, you are able now, you should be able now to talk about what is your interest in that organization. Align this cover letter that you're writing to this organization. The cover letter we just seen help this guy get an internship with one of the pharmaceutical industries. And in return, the pharmaceutical industry signed an MOU with the JQuat just to have the interns take at least 10 interns yearly from JQuat to this organization. So this cover letter now is giving a summary of what this person is able to do and his interest in this organization. So always make sure that when you're talking about how long should a professional summary be and what details should it bring out? Someone has just talked about a professional summary. A professional summary should be about 3 to 4 lines. And now the professional summary should be talking about your key areas of strength in terms of the job that you're applying for. So as I've said that you can always be able to, unless a professional summary, unless you are specific in specific areas, assuming that your accounts assistant or accountant payables. Now your key strengths might be similar for most organizations. So, but if you're applying for different roles in different organizations, you should be able now to change your professional summary to fit the organization, what the organization that you're looking for is requiring. And remember, you should always mirror the JD when you're doing any job application. Mirror the JD when you're doing any job application. It gives the potential recruiter a clue of the person you are in terms of what you are able to provide to this organization based on the JD that they are looking for. Another thing that you need to understand on the CV is that you should always use strong verbs like accomplished, improved. Then another thing you should also do is make sure that you have what you call make sure that you are able to quantify, especially when it comes to, for people in sales, in the sales industry, you are able to quantify some of your achievements. Talk about having made an increase of 25%, having made an increase of 50% of profits. So you are able to quantify that. put that into to quantify that. Another thing is that you are able to emphasize on your leadership and management skills. When you're doing your CV, make sure that emphasize on your leadership and management skills as well, especially if you are mid-level and senior level positions. That's what you aim. Another thing that you should work on is have your CV as an achievement or result oriented. Have some skills on your CV that have some accomplishments. When you're talking about an accomplishment in your CV, talk about what you did and the result it brought to the organization. You introduced a system. What did the system do to the organization? Or don't just say that I introduced a system, the subsystem in the organization. How did it influence the operations? What did it save the company in terms of finances? Did it save anything in terms of time? So now an achievement should always have a result. Talk about an achievement, then have it give a result for that. Then what are the pros and cons of including your previous employer as one of your referees? Now, any referee in your CV should always be someone who can vouch for you. There are those immediate supervisors. It's normal and it happens that cannot vouch for you, that will give about word for you. I remember at some point we were interviewing a candidate for a position as an accountant, and we called the referee. The referee gave a negative feedback about the candidate. And immediately the candidate called the referee when you are there, and they had a good conversation. So these are people, always try to, we've seen posts online talking about, at some point, try to call your referees, use a different number, call them and see what they can talk about you, so that you are sure that the person you have in your CV as your referee is someone that can vouch for you. Someone talked about some questions on the email. I don't know about that. Is it okay for a mercenary to write, to use? Who is a mercenary? How can that be best asked? Maurice, I think today we're talking about what gets you in an interview. The other information about the interview process, we can talk about it in a different forum. Making a CV, only 3 pages. Don't we stand ahead, omitting critical information to win the job? Now, making a CV, Maurice has asked about making a CV to only 3 pages. Don't you think? I think recruiters in the house can talk about this, can confirm this. When you advertise for a position as for example, you've advertised for a position as an accounts assistant, you're looking for an accounts assistant. Kevin, I think you'll be able to give audience on this. If you advertise for a position, for example, personally, I've been running 26 WhatsApp groups for job postings. And in these groups, you have about, all the groups, you have about 10,000 people. And you have people in these groups that will share these adverts with their friends or in other groups. So by the end of the day, if you're advertising for a position as an accounts clerk, you are looking for one individual for that position, you might end up getting 5,000 applications by the end of the day. So for 5,000 applications, if you have CVs that are 5 pages, will you be able to go through all the CVs? And for a fact, I think this one, other recruiters will confirm this with me. If you are looking for one candidate and you have 5,000 applications, you can only check the first 50 applicants. So I always advise job seekers that apply for a job immediately you see it. Because when you wait for deadline, I've seen companies that do interviews even before the deadline for that post. Because you already have the candidates. Why should you wait for the deadline when you have the candidates? So people who apply for jobs on the deadline day and still complain that they don't get invites or they don't get feedback from recruiters are to blame, are to have themselves to blame, because companies, when you have enough candidates, you'll not wait for the deadline to have this job filled. So make sure you apply for a job immediately you see it. About the name of the CV, I talked about having the official names of the CV. We have those people that are in sales. Someone is in sales, is in customer service, and maybe is an accountant. So these people have named their CV, have given their CVs roles. We have James, accountant CV, James, sales CV, James, customer service CV. Any recruiter will tell that you as a person do not have the relevant skill set that we are looking for. You've only customized this CV to fit a specific job that you have advertised. So he might not consider you for this job because you've just customized this, the CV to fit a specific job. Is it possible to share the slides on our emails kindly? That's okay. I think, do you have other questions?
Yes, there's one question from Vincent James that he's asking, assume you've just joined an organization, but due to some reasons you want to resign, between the 3rd and 6th month down the line. Is it advisable to include such an experience in your CV, bearing in mind that the recruiter is likely to ask you the reasons for leaving?
Now, in our day-to-day lives, I think for those of us who are on LinkedIn, we always see people post that they have gotten new jobs online on LinkedIn. Someone posts to a workplace, then posts on their CV. So basically, the question is asking is that how long should you take before maybe you update your CV on the new job? For me, I will advise that after probation, you should be able now to update your new role on the new CV, on your CV.
There's another question.
Yeah.
From Jen Gishuru. I believe, Evans, you've been able to understand that. Because of time, again, we are just trying to cover and make sure that everyone gets an answer to their questions. There's one from Jen Gishuru. What's your thought on people who say referees will be available on request?
For people, I think for senior positions, for people maybe with 10 years plus experience or 8 years plus experience and above, I think for them, it's okay for them to have that information, the referees available on request. But for a fresh graduate, I don't think it's necessary for you to do that. Have your CVs, have your referees on the CV. For someone with a senior position, I will advise this because in most cases, you'll find that these roles will have fewer applicants than the entry-level roles. So for entry-level roles, assuming someone is looking for an intern and they have you have received about 100 plus applications, and then out of the 100 plus applications, only 2 of you have the referees available on request. So someone will not be able to do an email to follow up on referees from you as a fresh graduate or someone who is seeking an internship position, yet they have someone who has referees on the CV. So I think depending on the seniority of the job, for fresh graduates, you have the fresh graduates and mid-level, maybe below 7 years and below, you should have your referees on the CV. For senior positions, you can have referees available on request.
Okay. As we are going through other questions, allow me just to appreciate our partners who make sure that we are always online during these sessions. We have Balcon Company. These are real estate and property management company. The same applies to Stallion Construction Company, which deals with service and renovation of household, office partitioning and changing of tiles, fixing your room if you want to tailor-make a new office. We have Pathway Solutions, who at the end or by the end of this session, kindly make sure that you are to the very end because they have offers for us. That is to tell you that your Christmas is coming early. We have Essence Park Limited and Panessa Training Institute. We also have We Clean Company. They have a machine that cleans your carpets in less than 6 minutes. We have Kapula Mintito for those of us who came during our meet and greet. I believe you at that you saw the Mapuche from Kapula Mintito. We have Profiles International. This also a HR, the same as Essence Park. They are a HR consulting firm. We have Steadfast Quality Solutions. And as we are coming towards the end of this, of our year, we have a HR Professional Sports Day. This one is, we only have 4 days left for this. So registration, as I've mentioned, only 600. Pay bill number as indicated, account name, make sure you write your name so that when you come in, we have your name and we have your details. Where will the place be? Nairobi Club Grounds. We also have an activity coming up on the 25th, this coming Friday. You're going to see our very own Grace Nzula from Atara Solution as the HR expert. We have Kevin Anyambura, who is going to be there as the from Fanisi HR, also as a HR expert, and we have Joy Mutithia from Osotwa Foundation. What are they going to be talking about? Performance management for SMEs. So if you are here and you need to be there, please make sure, and even for those of us who are looking for, who are here because of the recruitment and what to expect in an interview, this one is also going to be a very key, meeting to attend. So make sure that you attend. Cost only 1,000 shillings, including snacks. Pay bill as indicated, account name is 400-84250. Today's session, we are with our very own Jairus Walemba, and we are talking about what goes on during an interview. We have a question from Joyce Ishiteti. Very professional, Mr. Walemba. Always a pleasure interacting with you. And that one is a comment, so that one is a question. We also have a question here from Charity Mzilani. Is it possible that you share the slides to our email? That one, we are going to share this recording through our YouTube channels. So you're definitely going to get them there. You know the reason as to why we don't, or rather we stop sharing our documents is because people use them and they use them as is. They don't make any changes, so it becomes a problem. Kindly give the specification of a resume. Do one include education, personal or experience only? That one is a question from Eunice Nderetu. Jairus.
Do one include education, personal experience only? Now, what happens with a resume and a CV? A resume is a bit shorter, even though it means the same thing as a CV. Now, depending on the country, a resume is used in the European countries, but a CV now, we call it a curriculum vitae here. So the information that should be in the CV, the only difference should be that the CV should be more of it should have more content than the resume. So a resume should not be maximum 2 pages. A minimum of 2 pages for a resume. A maximum of 2 pages for a resume.
Okay.
Now, someone has asked about what if an applications in case the send CV only, should the application be sent accompanied by a cover letter? As I've said, is that the interview process starts immediately you are sending your application. So following instructions during the application process is very key, and that is where the interview process begins. If you don't follow instructions during that application process, it means that you are someone that you will not follow instructions even given this opportunity. So always follow instructions. They've asked about CV alone, do the CV alone. Someone asked about sending the CV in Word or PDF document. Unless otherwise, always send your CV and application letter and the cover letter in the PDF format. Because we always advise the PDF format because there are some computers that will not be able to pick the other formats. There are some people that have saved their CVs in the text format, and some computers will not be able to open that. So having employer follow up or respond to an email just to have to open your CV will not be an easy task. Another thing is that there are some job seekers that have saved their CVs in the Google Drive, and those CVs have been secured. So it's not able to open. So you keep on sending your applications, thousands of applications, and no one will be able to see this. So unless you find a very empathetic recruiter who will be able to respond to your email to ask you now maybe to be able to open that email. So always make sure that you can try this with your friends as well.
Sorry, Jay, as we wind up, we have some of our participants who had raised their hands. Andros, if you can hear me, kindly unmute yourself and ask your question. As Andros does that, Maliadnia, if you can also hear me, please unmute yourself. The same applies to Isaac Gisore. Jairus, we have 4 minutes. What's your parting shot?
Now, I think what I can say is that the job discussions about employability is something that we cannot finish in a day. Not just a day. It's not something that can finish in an hour. And I always ask job seekers now to for this, you can now seek further consultation with us to help you now understand this better. So you can check us online, JCVs online. We are at Maendeleo House, just opposite Ambassador Towers. I'm still in the office now. This is where we work from. Or you can reach me on 0725912186, 0725912186, or 0734921111. It was a pleasure having me at Tara Solutions. We look forward for more discussions. I know people still need to get this information. And I hope they benefit from what you've shared today.
Thank you so much, Jay, for always availing yourself when need be and when you're called upon by Atara Solutions. And as I mentioned to all of us, Pathway Solution Services always have something for us. Today we have an LMS training. 3 people each will have 1 LMS training course of their choice. That is, we have job search skills, assertiveness and self-confidence, goal setting and get things done, workplace bullying, and customer support. Terms and conditions always apply, and the courses must always be completed within 30 days. Please, if you are interested in attending or being part of this course, send your full name and email, which will be required for registration on the LMS. And to win, one must have attended today's webinar. That is, kindly share it again before or by midnight. The email address should be addressed to grace@atarasolutions.co.ke. If Team Atara, you can hear me, kindly help me by typing the email on the chat for everyone to see, and or copy to frank@pathwaysolutionsservices.co.uk. We also have company trainings that is offer a company can have 2 of the following sessions, that is executive and personal assistant training, motivation sales team, motivation for sales team, sales fundamentals, social media marketing, conduct center training or call center training, employees recruitment, delivering constructive feedback. This one, again, terms and conditions apply, and the trainings are going to be delivered virtually via Zoom or Google Meeting, maximum of 500 people per session. That is per training workshop. We are going to be communicating the date before the training is delivered. Once you email, we are going to share with you. And all of these trainings, if you are interested in any, you should be able to send again your email to grace@atarasolutions.co.ke and a copy to frank@pathwaysolutionsservices.co.uk. And as always, it's always a pleasure to having all of us attend these sessions. Please don't fail to join our WhatsApp group, as I can see Jacinta has already shared our link on the chat. Join our WhatsApp group, Grace, Get It Right with Atara Solution. Join and like our Facebook page, Grace, Get It Right with Atara Solution. YouTube channel, Get It Right with Atara Solution. Instagram, Get It Right with Atara Solution. If you feel like we did tackle your question, please feel free to reach out to Jay through the number shared on the chat, so that again we can be able to help where we can. And today's host was none other than Kevin Adipo from Get It Right with Atara Solution. Thank you, team Atara, Jacinta, and the team for always making sure that we are reached and we are to help when need be. For today's session, we thank Jay and everyone. Thank you, Catherine Sidandi, for always making sure that we are inclusive. Have a good night, all.